Well, for more on what today's consumers are demanding from their physical shopping experience, here's David Bell. He's president and co-founder of Idea Farm Ventures in New York. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So we keep hearing this mantra that U.S. malls are dying, and obviously a number of retail chains appear to be struggling, restructuring or closing down. What's the reality about the fate of malls?
Well, I think the reality is there's really a lot of nuance. I mean, certainly some of the malls are not doing very well. They tend to be the malls that are more at the sort of B and C level. On the other hand, there are other malls that are doing very, very well. So once you dig under the hood, there is some failure there, but there's also really some resounding success. So with everything, there's always a little bit of variation, a little bit of heterogeneity in the outcomes.
And we do know that a lot of online shopping is still important, but not as much as brick and mortar. But what's the motivation then for opening new malls?
Well, I think, just some of the things that came up in the prior segment. I mean, people still want to touch and feel products. They still want to experience new services. And I think in a digital age where everybody's got a phone, they want to go places where they can discover new things and have experiences that they can share with people on social media. And that really explains the success of concepts like Museum of Ice Cream and experiential retail. Part of it is actually going there and being able to share that discovery process with people in your social circle.
Now, what are the most enticing ways to get shoppers who've already become accustomed to online shopping? They're not really a fan of going back into the malls. How do you get them back into the physical stores?
Well, I think you really have to give them a sense of the ability to come and discover something new, to get hold of a product or a service that's really tactile, that doesn't transmit too well in an online environment. And so, you see a few gems out there in the offline retail world. If you look at Bath and Body Works with their candles and some of the other things that really excite people, really high service stores, destinations with a lot of color, a lot of vibrancy. I mean, retailers of that stripe are quite successful at bringing people into the stores because they offer something new, they offer discovery as well as great products and great service.
And you make an interesting point because there is just some products and services that you can't get just sitting at home if you want to get your ears pierced or if you want to get a tattoo.
Right.
Which are some of the ones that could really have some staying power?
Yeah, so I think, we're seeing a lot of innovation really around two areas. One is in fast casual and food. You can't get food necessarily, or you can't get the touch and feel and taste of it unless you're offline. So fast casual eateries are a big thing. Health and wellness is a big thing. New kinds of gyms, and then going beyond gyms into things like acupuncture, Botox, skincare, meditation, all kinds of experiential services that really appeal to this new psychographic of consumers, people who are millennial and Gen Z or who have that kind of mindset. So that's two huge categories that are big draws. And then I think just entertainment in general and some of the peripheral services you mentioned, like piercing services, tattoo services, and those kinds of things.
And you did mention that obviously this isn't the story for all malls. So which ones are really striking that right balance of keeping foot traffic while adapting to the needs of modern consumers?
So, look, if you look around some of the major cities, I think you see some very, very good malls. For example, if you're out in Los Angeles, the Century City Mall is one that I've visited from time to time just as part of my own research. Has a really interesting mix of both product and services. It allows new brands to do very, very experiential things, whether it's Halo Top Ice Cream opening an ice cream shop. It has some really interesting fitness opportunities there. It has influencers and media stars who come in and do pop-ups. So it's really kind of a whole ensemble of activity that's really, really new as far as malls are concerned, number one. And number two, those things are rotating on a regular cadence. So there's always a reason to go back there and see what's new.
So what would you say are some of the biggest mistakes that some malls are making that's making them less profitable?
So I think some of the biggest mistakes are really just sort of doubling down on the old formats of retail, where those old formats, what I mean by that, are formats of retail that rely on two things: inventory and prices and discounts. So if you're basically a kind of a physical warehouse with a bunch of inventory, like a set of sweaters and maybe some discount pricing that goes along with that, there's really no ability to compete with something like Amazon. I mean, the only wedge or the only moat that you really have is brand and experience. So if you populate the mall with a smaller footprint set of stores that really cater to experience, discovery, innovation, service, and you anchor them to things like food and beverage and wellness that really lend themselves naturally to offline, then I think you stand more than a fighting chance.
All right, so much good advice there. Thank you so much. David Bell there, co-founder and president of Idea Farm Ventures.
Thank you.